Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura. Today I'm going to show you all of the manga or books or geek stuff. Actually, I've got a lot of geek stuff. All of the geek stuff that I acquired in the month of April. And I had already actually filmed this, and then I ended up going to a convention this weekend. So anyway, I'll just get into showing you what I've got. So the first title that I've got is Princess Jellyfish by Akiko Higashimura. I haven't read this yet, but I believe it's about girl otaku, girl geeks who live in an apartment complex, and they all have different various interests in geekdom, which is totally appropriate, at least for what I've been up to this weekend. I haven't read this before, did I say that? I haven't read this before, but I'm really looking forward to getting into it, and now that life is sort of quietening up again, I should have a chance to do that. I ended up winning this comic. I didn't buy it. I won it on the blog Experiments in Manga, which I'm really grateful for. It was really unexpected, and you know, it was a most anticipated title for me for the year, so I was really happy to win something that I was hoping to read this year. So I will link up that blog down below so you can have a look. Yeah. So that's that. I ended up buying a handful of titles from Amazon Japan, just a couple of things that I'm currently following, and then of course I always have to throw something new in my cart because I'm like that. Anyway, the first title is Skip Beat Volume 38. This is by Yoshiki Nakamura, and it is releasing in English, and the English I think is only about 2 volumes behind the Japanese, so it's actually coming out in North America almost or very quickly after the Japanese release, but I am pre-reading the Japanese because I can't wait for the English to come out. So yeah, I really love this series. It's just so much like fun, really great characters. So I ended up buying 38, and 38! I have a problem when I buy on Amazon that this actually happens fairly often. I end up buying duplicates, but it's also kind of difficult to return things in a foreign language, so I'm going to just keep my second copy for a while and kind of figure out what I should do with it. So that happened. I also bought Iguana Girl by Moto Hagio. This is just a little tiny manga, and it's got little tiny pages, but it's just really, really beautiful. I had recently read Moto Hagio's Drunken Dreams, and Iguana Girl is one of the short stories in that series, so I just wanted to have a Japanese copy of it just because I loved it so much. I think Moto Hagio is going to become one of my favorite comicers, mangaka, in the near future, so I have a few plans of her to read her stuff, but this one is definitely, you know, it's a josei manga, which means that the language in it is a little bit harder to read. There are no furigana, there's no pronunciation of the kanji, so it's going to be difficult for me to translate, but luckily I already have it in English, so I don't really have to worry about that. I just wanted to have it in my collection. There are other stories in this book as well, and I didn't recognize any of them from the Drunken Dreams collection, and there is another Moto Hagio series story volume omnibus short story. I'm not even sure like what is going to be contained. I think it's called like Underworld Barbara or something. I think that's what it's called, but it's also coming out this year, and I'm just really looking forward to reading it. I don't really care what's inside because I have been enjoying her stories so much. So anyway, this is just a really pretty little book. And so then something new for me is I've been doing experiments in buying Japanese magazines. So this one is Hannahtoyoumay, which is a publisher of shoujo manga, and if you haven't seen one of these before, essentially what it is it's a monthly subscription or bi-monthly, you know, twice a month. Some of them are weekly, I think, and they are just single chapters of serialized manga. So you can see here that there's a variety of different colors. Every single chapter gets a different color. So this one is purple on white. The next chapter, which is Skip Beat, is black on pink. So there's just a number of different titles within. And I haven't really read through this one too much. I ended up picking up Hannahtoyoumay. This is April 5th. I picked this up because I had read on someone's Twitter that hannahtoyoumay was picking up or continuing the story of Love So Life. And if you've seen any of my videos before, you know that I have mentioned Love So Life before. It is not an English manga, it's only Japanese, but it's one that I'm currently obsessed with, and I have been buying it, and it had recently finished just last year, so I was just really eager to read the continuation. This one, of course, does not have Love So Life in it, but this one does. So you can see here the two children characters. This is Akane-chan, Aoi-kun, and they're quite a bit more grown up. You can see they're wearing backpacks, so they're in elementary school. I think they're in 5th grade in the story. And I did end up reading it as soon as it came, and it doesn't look like that's it. There is more to come, and so of course now I have to keep buying these magazines to get the rest, because I don't know if they're going to be coming in a tankobon, in a like bound up volume of manga, so I'm not sure if I should wait or just keep buying these. So I have bought 2 more volumes. I have 2 more pre-ordered. So far this is the only one that's got Love So Life in it. So here's another volume, the next volume that I have for May, and then this is a June edition of hannahtoyoumay. So I actually think that these last 2 are from maybe a different imprint of the manga, but Love So Life is not in them. I have read a little bit here and there. I think this will be good practice just for reading in general, but yeah, it's just kind of fun to be buying these things. I haven't actually had any before, except for, you know, the English translated Shoujo Beat, Shonen Jump, so yeah, just kind of fun thing to throw in my collection. So the next title that I got, I actually bought from an independent seller online, and I bought it through Amazon, but it was through one of the independent people. And it was more than I wanted to spend on a manga, but I realized that it was sort of integral to my collection, and I really want to read it before a new series is released this year, and that is Galaxy Express 999 by Leiji Matsumoto. This is volume 1, and I have the rest of the series, so it makes complete sense that I would be buying number 1. And I spent too much on this, but it was probably the best price that I could find online, and I do want to read this before Queen Esmeralda comes out. This is a very famous space opera type story, and I have read the rest of it. I just never have read volume 1, and I've actually watched a lot of the anime too back in the day. So, but anyway, it's a good series. If you happen to have a chance to find it, pick it up. So the next title that I got is this 3-in-1 of High School Debut. It collects volumes 13 through 15. The single volumes only got published until volume 13 in English, and Viz, for some reason, only decided to publish 14 and 15 in this bind-up. So the only way that you can read the omake, the stories after the story, it's all short stories, and it's the only way you can read them is with these 3-in-1s. Unfortunately, Viz's 3-in-1s are not very high quality publishing, and so, you know, I don't want them in my collection, but I want the story, so it's kind of a conundrum. So I'm not impressed by that, but I'm glad to have the story, and I'm really glad that Tasha from Tasha's Books, thank you for mentioning this, because I would have been completely unaware, because I don't go out of my way to look at these 3-in-1s because I don't want them in my collection. But I love Kazune Kawahara. She's one of my favorite shoujo manga artists, and I love High School Debut. I think it's one of the best high school romance comedies that are out there, so of course I had to buy it, unfortunately. But I'm glad I have it, but I also don't like it. Does that make sense? I'm totally at odds with myself. I ended up buying Library Wars Volume 15. It's the final volume. This will be read soon. I haven't read it yet. I want to reread it. I don't like to read the last volume just on its own. Like when the last volume comes out, then that's sort of like epic reread time. So I'm going to pull out Library Wars. I probably will read it in May. And a horror manga artist that I'm kind of new to, although has been around since forever, Hideshi Hino. And I ended up reading something, Lullabies from Hell. I ended up reading Lullabies from Hell in like January, February this year, and I really enjoyed it, but at the same time it was absolutely disgusting, and I just feel like, you know, I only have one title by this author in my collection, and I think we needed more, so I bought Hell Baby. It was the only title that I could find available, and it was published a little while ago. It doesn't actually say in here, I can't remember, I'll have to look it up on Amazon. But it's kind of a really weird one. It looks like a flipped comic, but it's not. So what they did is they put the cover on backwards. This is Blast Books. I don't know who made this decision, but it totally cracks me up. The cover is on in English direction, but then when you open it up, it says, "Note, to preserve the original design, Hellbaby has been published in the same page order as the Japanese edition." And so, even though you originally would pick it up, and you are like honestly thinking, oh hey, I'm going to read it from left to right, you actually are supposed to read it in the correct Japanese order. So the cover is basically on backwards. It's just super weird. I don't know, it's the only comic in my collection that does this, that like, it just kind of plays with your mind, which I guess is suitable for a horror comic. You should definitely read some Hideshi Hino if you're into Japanese horror. Hideshi Hino is more of a gross out horror author rather than a psychological horror author, so you know, if you compare him to Kazuo Umezu, there's a really distinct difference. His is definitely more like, kind of have an upset tummy after reading his stuff, and Umezu is more like you kind of are looking around corners, concerned about what's in closets, kind of horror. So it's just kind of fun to read. I like Japanese horror comics. And then I bought this comic book at the convention. It is not a manga, but it will deceive you. It is Astro Boy. It's a Gold Key comic from 1965, but this was not written by Tezuka. Basically, they had the rights to the characters, and so I believe it was NBC or someone. Gold Key is sort of associated with Little Golden Books, if you remember those. So they had the rights to the characters, and so they created stories around Astro Boy, kind of completely unrelated to the original Astro Boy, and they didn't consult Tezuka on the writing of it, and they completely did it without his knowledge, essentially. So he it wasn't, technically I don't think it was illegal because they did have rights to the characters, but it was sort of done kind of underhanded, and you know, in 1965 there's still a lot of like post-war bad feelings between the Americans and the Japanese, so I think there's a little of that involved in here, but this is volume 1. Anyway, it's not in the greatest condition. It's kind of a charming thing to read, and it's just, for a manga collector or comic book collector, it's just this little piece of fun history or trivia that's nice to have in the collection, and I don't have anything else like it, so I was really excited to find this. I wasn't really super aware of it when I found it. I knew that it wasn't Tezuka. You can tell immediately from the cover that this isn't manga, or that it's not Japanese anyway, and that someone else had drawn the cover. I didn't know whether or not they had actually tried to serialize it and that someone else had drawn the cover, so yeah, really cool thing to have in my collection. I'm kind of proud of it. And then the main purpose that my sister and I had going to this expo, William Shatner, so we ended up seeing William Shatner, and he signed this postcard that, yeah, I kind of love this postcard so much. My friend gave it to me. Actually not this copy, I lost it, but my friend gave me this picture, and we had it on our fridge for many years when we lived together, so yeah, I just kind of really, really love this picture. It's really nostalgic, and like, hello, totally adorable. And he's still adorable. I know he's kind of not always portrayed as such, but he was totally adorable at the convention, so I don't really care. Anyway, sign my name. There it is, to Laura, and then some other squiggle that apparently means William Shatner. So, I got that. And of course that wouldn't be complete without, yeah, he's totally cute. That was like a 2-second photo op there. Yeah, he's totally adorable, and this probably will go on my wall somewhere. And then the, of course, only reason that we went, because even though I love William Shatner, if this man wasn't going, we wouldn't have gone to the convention. And that is Stan Lee, of course. The man himself. So, anyway, we got our pictures taken with him, and obviously he signed it, but I also got him to sign his comic that he sort of helped create, or his manga that he was a part of, because as a manga creator, of course, I want to get his signature in manga. So inside there's this great picture of him in kimono, and it just says "what," and so yeah, I got him to sign that page. So, the cutest man ever alive. I love him. So that's it for my haul for April. I do have 2 hauls planned for May, so you can look forward to that if you're into hauls. Other than that, there are a few videos coming up, including my April wrap-up. I have read a lot of manga in April, so I have a lot of manga to talk about. So anyway, you can look forward to that video, and I will see you then. Bye!